Hey, are you guys the Meyer Q? They sent me with all these weapons for you.
You took me straight to them.
Oops, my bad. Hey everybody, welcome back. We last left off heading to Edgeville to prepare to kill some Chaos Druids, and that's because they drop a wide variety of herbs that we'll need to get to level 30 herb lore. It will take some time, as we still need to collect some of the secondaries afterwards in order to make the potions, but we'll see how long it takes to get an inventory done. As a side note, remember that we'll be in the wilderness, and in the past, people used to disguise themselves as Chaos Druids in order to trick people into skulling on them, so it could be helpful to turn your player attack options to hidden. Now go into the dungeon to start killing some druids to get some herbs. Luckily, I got a looting bag on my first kill, which effectively doubles our inventory as long as we're in the wilderness. Besides herbs, one of the things we're going to get a decent amount of is law runes, which means we no longer have to be super stingy with the ones we have, or our chronicle teleports, because we'll get a few dozen by the time we're done here. While killing Chaos Druids, it's important to pay attention to your chat box, as messages from your cat will get interrupted by yours of the Chaos Druids attacks, and because of this, I ended up losing a kitten. I didn't notice that the first interaction came up to tell me that it needed attention, so later on when I banked and I was sitting in the bank interface, I didn't notice it again and eventually lost my cat, so after finishing an inventory, I had to go get another. It's a bit of a waste of time because I was about 2/3 of the way done with the cat, but unfortunately, things happen. Look guys, I made a friend, and they actually recognized me without even knowing about my videos. Back in episode 6 when I was doing stuff at the Varrock Museum, they happened to be there. And it was on an entirely different world than the world we're on now. And they remembered my name. That's super cool, because I remembered theirs too. I even went back and looked at the footage because I was like, yeah, wait, I think I remember you when I was cleaning finds. Of course, I had to give a little shameless plug to my videos, and looks like I got myself a new subscriber. Cha-ching! Just kidding. But it actually paid off talking to this guy. One, super awesome, at least I think it's a guy. And two, they gave me a great tip about the West Ardoin General Store. Apparently, while normal general stores start buying items at low alch price, the general store in West Ardoin buys items starting at 137.5% of low alchemy price. There are two better shops that buy items at high alchemy price, but one of them is at the bandit camp in the wilderness, and the other is at the rogue's den underneath the inn in Berthorpe, but that requires 50 thieving and 50 agility to access, which I do not have yet. After getting one attack level, several strength levels, and several hit points levels, I decide that I'm just going to go for 20 defense, so I can wear the initiate helm that we got from recruitment drive so long ago. Fast forward 3 inventories later and almost 3 hours, and I'm bored out of my mind. The first inventory took about 40 to 45 minutes, and then eventually the second and third inventories took about at least a third faster, simply because we got 6 or 7 strength levels in that meantime, which really sped up our DPS. But I've decided that I can't do this until level 30, because we need 4,600 more experience. 1,000 of that experience can be from the lamp we get after doing Making History during Ghosts of Hoy, but the other 2,000 experience, if not 4,000, could come from Shades of Morton and Zogre Flesh Eaters, as both of those give 2,000 experience each. I'll likely do one of those, probably Shades of Morton, and then farm secondaries to turn all my herbs into potions, and then just grind out 30 from there, and then do Zogre Flesh Eaters later, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, let's head back to the bank. Before we do Shades of Morton, we're actually going to do Ghosts of Hoy, because it gives a teleport back to Mortania. Per experience, it's involved in a few diaries, and it's involved in the Making History quest, which afterward will get that 1,000 XP lamp. Because I only have 1 red dye, I'm going to run to Port Sarim to purchase some red berries, 6 in total to make 2 more dyes, because Ghosts of Hoy requires anywhere from 1 to 3. I'm also going to buy 10 buckets of slime from the charter, because later on, when we need to make ecto tokens for the start of Ghosts of Hoy, I'd rather not run down and down and down all the way to the slime pit. I'd rather just have the bucket of slime, which are only 2 coins each. Then we're going to head into Draenor to have the dyes made before banking and pulling out only our best pickaxe as well as our boots of lightness, and then heading all the way west to the Remington mine to fill our inventory with iron before going north to Folly Bank and pulling out the coal and iron ore to smelt the 21 steel bars to make the items for Insert to the Mire queue later on. While we're here, I'm choosing to make the Strung Sapphire Amulet for the portion of making history that takes place in Port Phasmatis. However, you could also do it later at the furnace in Port Phasmatis. Alright, now we need to go start making history, but first, since my kitten became a cat, I need to go trade it in for 200 death runes. Then we're going to Varrock Teleport, and in my case, get a new kitten, but otherwise, go to the east to buy an oak longbow from the ranging shop, and then go northwest to the Spirit Tree to take it to the Tree Gnome Stronghold, and then run all the way south to the outpost to start making history. What I could have done was teleport here directly using the Necklace of Passage, but I didn't think it was worth it as it wouldn't have saved that much time. Okay, now the next step is to head into the Ardoin Market to talk to the Silver Merchant to get the Enchanted Key, and although the next step wants us to go north of Castle Wars to dig up a chest, we actually need to use the minigame teleport now to go to Blast Furnace so that we can run west, purchase a steel warhammer from the shop for 832 coins for Insert to the Mire Queue. The reason we're buying the warhammer instead of smithing it is because it requires level 39 smithing and we only have level 36, which is all we need to smith the rest of the items. So instead of grinding 2 more levels and then Dwarven Stout boosting to 39, we're just going to buy it for the coins and save some time. Then we're going to go to the bank to prepare to do the first half of Mountain Daughter, as well as start the Fremnik trials and then continue making history. So go northeast up to the Boatman, take the ferry across, go out of the cave, and then go south to start the Mountain Daughter quest. At the point where you have to go to Relica, start the Fremnik trials, as well as continue making history and make sure that the conversation with Drawn is crossed off in your quest log. Then, go back to the Mountain Daughter camp and they will ask you to get a white fruit from White Wolf Mountain, which we will do later on. So we're going to pause this quest here and run all the way south to Sears to do Elemental Workshop 2. Remember that while the quest says you only need 8 coal, if you want to smith a Mind Shield for yourself, which gives +9 magic defense, you have to bring an extra 4 and you have to mine an extra elemental ore. You'll also want both the Beaten Book and Slash Book in your inventories, otherwise you won't be able to make both items. Now let's go do Elemental Workshop 2 from start to finish. Given that we're making 2 Mine Bars in order to make both the Mine Helmet and the Mine Shield, keep in mind that it does decrease your magic levels when you prime the bar. So what I did was, instead of making both bars back to back, I made 1 bar, primed it, and then used Prayer to restore my stats while I made the other bar so that by the time I came back downstairs, I was already good to go to prime the next one. Once you've got both the bars, head upstairs to smith the helmet to finish the quest, gaining a 7,500 crafting and smithing experience, which is a crap load. It also bumps us up to exactly the smithing level we need in order to make the steel items for Insert to the Mire Queue. After that, use the other bar to make the Mine Shield if you so wish. Then, we need to go back to the bank and pull out the 21 steel bars to make the items for Insert to the Mire Queue. After making all the weapons and nails, we need to head back to the bank and prepare to head to Canifis to do Insert to the Mire Queue and then go Sahoy. But there's a couple things I need to do first. One, because my clue scroll requires me to go to Sir Galahad's house and dig outside of it, I'm going to do that. In line with the route that I've established for myself, I did not continue Holy Grail here nor complete the diary task, so we'll have to come back here at some point later. 2, Go Sahoy happens to require silk, and for whatever reason, I didn't have that in my route so far. So I updated the route, but for now I need to take a quick detour and go to Ardoin to thieve 2 pieces of silk. And while there, I decided to get a 3rd, because if I use it with Karamja rum, it can become a cleaning cloth which can remove poison from weapons. I'm not sure if I'll ever need that, but it only takes another second to get a 3rd piece of silk. At the East Bank, I decided to pull out my bowls and fill them to the southeast with water in order to have them ready to make Nettle Tea for Go Sahoy. There is a water pump to the northwest of Port Phasmatis later, so this can be done en route during the quest. I just wanted to be ready. Now we need to teleport to Varrock and run all the way to Canifis. Once we're at the bank, we need to pull out our strike runes, mage gear, all the items for Insert to the Mire Queue, including the silver sickle because we need to go back into the swamp and fill up our pouch. 1, for general swamp protection, and 2, because you can be soft locked out of the quest if you don't have at least 5 charges in your druid pouch when you go to repair the bridge, as the boatman will block you, saying it's too unsafe to go unless you've got the proper protective equipment. Once we're done filling our pouch, we're going to continue heading southeast toward the swamp boaty, which will take to Morton, satisfying a medium diary task. Careful when you get there, as there are level 37 afflicted walking around the boat, and unless you've got level 75 combat, they will be aggressive to you. I ended up having to hop worlds so I could talk to the boatman, who allows you to go back north, and then continue going north to repair the bridge, talk to the guy who lets you go inside, and then head on through the cave to continue the quest. I underestimated the skeletal hellhound we'd have to fight during the quest, as soon as it spawned, it got a hit off on me before I could even move, and when I was trying to set up the safe spot by the barrel in the northeast corner, it kept slapping me for a higher amount than I could heal because I only brought cakes. So luckily I was running my Ring of Life because I narrowly avoided death there, and now I have to do the Run of Shame all the way back to Canifis, and this time I'm bringing those wines. Second time around it's much easier, and we're able to go back through the shortcut that we can now use to go back into the swamp next time, and we'll head back into the pub to finish the quest. We're awarded with the shortcut back to Morton, as well as 600 XP in attack, strength, defense, hit points, and crafting. We didn't technically need to do this quest right now, but it was relatively quick. It gave us a shortcut, and eventually we'll have to do the sequel in order to open up the bank in Bergderot. Notice how we got 4 big bones from the hellhound we killed for the quest. Since we need to pray at the Ectofunctus in a bit, we will need to grind some bones into bone meal, so this will help with that. Alright, let's finally prepare to do Ghost Ahoy. So along with our typical Boots of Lightness and Arty Cape, we need a pair of gloves, 8 empty pots, 8 bones of any type, and 8 buckets or buckets of slime, as well as the Karabwanji and 3 empty spaces. If you don't have any bones, besides the bones we just got from the Hellhound in Search of the Myrku, there is a farm near the Ectofuncus that is undead cows and chickens that can supply bones for the quest. The 3 empty spaces and the gloves are to pick nettles to the east of Canifis. There is a patch to the east or southeast of the Slayermaster, and we need to pick at least one of those, but preferably 3 in case we mess up, in order to make the nettle tea for Ghost Ahoy. Now let's head all the way east to the Ectofunctus, grind our bones, and worship to get the Ecto tokens. Not only does it satisfy as an easy diary task, but we also got level 22 prayer. If you only had buckets instead of buckets of slime, you'd have to go all the way down to the basement 3 or 4 floors down and fill your buckets up from the pool there. Afterwards, we need to grab our Ecto tokens from one of the Ghost Disciples and then head into Port Phasmatus and talk to Valerina to start Ghost Ahoy. And I think we're going to call it there for now. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all the support you've all given me, and I'm going to keep cranking these videos out. Have a good one. See you next time.